Well, good morning, everyone. Normally it's good afternoon, but today it's good morning, and welcome to the Winston-Salem Transit Authority Board of Directors meeting here for Thursday, June the 23rd. Hard to imagine June is almost gone, but it is, and the heat's here with it too. So, thank you for taking the time out of your morning. We've got things to discuss and resolutions. And let me state first off, in respect to everybody's time this morning, we will skip the reports unless there is questions that you might have had, fellow board members, after reading the packet information. So let me say that at the beginning. If I may, as I do at every meeting that we have on Zoom, read our virtual statement. Pursuant to the policies and procedures adopted by the City Council relative to virtual meetings, it has been determined that it is not feasible for the members of this committee to meet together physically due to the pandemic. All members are participating remotely. Members will vote by a roll call vote, and each member will be recognized by roll call and then state. So at this time, Tika, would you be so kind as to do a roll call for us?
Certainly. Chairman Garcia.
Here.
Vice Chairman Keith King.
Present.
Mr. Willie Clark.
Present.
Dr. Jack Fleer.
Present.
Ms. Lawson Jackson.
Here.
Ms. Latanya Wright.
Here.
Mr. Philip Osborne. Mr. Osborne. Okay. I thought Ms. Woodson said that he was logging in, and I spoke with him, so we'll come back to him.
Okay.
All members have been accounted for.
Thank you very much, Tika. As always, we will have a safety message. Well, my safety message for this morning is this heat. I just mentioned it earlier. Please take care of yourselves. It is pretty hot out there. And sometimes I know for myself that I have to be a little bit more careful than I used to be. So please take care of yourself, take all necessary precautions in regards to this heat, because it can get to you. It can lead to a lot of different complications in our lives. So just take care, and also to protect yourself against your skin. That is so important. I know in the healthcare world, they always used to tell us that. And sometimes I know I'm kind of forget to put stuff on my face or something like this, and you could easily create a lot of issues there. So please be careful this summer, especially in this early onset of heat that we're having. At this time, we always open it up for public comment. I do not see anybody that has signed on, Ms. Woodson, for public comment. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. And as always, we do welcome public comment. They're always welcome to join us by contacting our office. We will move directly into our action items. So first off, we have the approval of the resolution to approve the May 26, 2022 WSTA board minutes. You received them in your packet. At this time, Ms. Woodson will scroll down to them just to kind of give it a quick overview, and we'll take a few minutes, and if it jars your memory on something or something that you might have seen that was incorrect or needs editing, please let us know. Okay. Let's see. Fellow board members, as you read along, or you might have them printed off and read it yourself, are there any comments, edits, corrections to bring before the board?
When appropriate, I move their adoption.
Thank you very much, Dr. Flair. We have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 26th meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Keith King.
Thank you, Mr. King. Tika, if you would be so kind to call a roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Keith King,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark,
Aye.
Dr. Jack Fleer,
Aye.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Latanya Wright,
Aye.
and has Mr. Osborne joined us? No? All members accounted for have voted.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next, we will move along to our next resolution, that authorizing an agreement. An agreement with Forsyth County for medical transportation. Ms. Woodson?
Yes, I'm gonna scroll down to that, and I apologize for the slight inconvenience today. We're mobile, but we're gonna make this happen. So the first resolution that I want to bring to you all this morning, and before I do that, I would like to thank you all for your willingness to adjust your time for this meeting earlier than we normally have it monthly. Again, I do on behalf of the staff and the city of Winston-Salem, we do appreciate the adjustment. This resolution that we have before you this morning is for non-emergency Medicaid transportation. This is a contract that we receive from Forsyth County DSS annually, and it is for the provision of providing services to transportation services to the Medicaid clients of Forsyth County. And this contract, if you so approve, would last for 1 year, the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022, lasting through June 30th, 2023. And again, this is basically for an estimated amount of 200 Medicaid eligible clients to ride the transportation services that WSTA provides for the TransAid. If there is any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them.
Any questions, fellow board members?
I move its adoption.
Thank you, Dr. Flair. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Jeanette Lawson Jackson.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Tika, if we'd be so kind to do a roll call, all those in favor adopting the resolution agreement with Forsyth County for Medicaid transportation, please signify by saying aye.
Chairman Robert Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Keith King,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark,
Aye.
Dr. Jack Fleer,
Aye.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Latanya Wright.
Aye.
All members counted for has voted.
Thank you very much, Tika.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Our next resolution is a resolution authorizing a contract with Forsyth County DSS for the provision of bus pass sales. Ms. Woodson?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Again, this is also an annual agreement for the provision of bus pass sales. And this is another service that would be provided if agreed or approved from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. The services that in which this is would provide is basically for any eligible DSS, Department of Social Service individual that applies and requires assistance with transportation, Forsyth County DSS would provide them with bus sales. So the way this works is basically like a transfer. They would estimate how many passes they would need, and then we would provide them to Forsyth DSS for a reduced price. And this is a contract that has been in place annually as well. And I bring this to you today as a request to provide us, grant the city manager approval to agree for bus pass sales for fiscal year 2022-23.
I move that we approve Jeanette Lawson
Okay.
Jackson.
And thank you, Ms. Jackson, but I had to, Ms. Woodson, if I may, I know we've done this every year, and this is a great thing that DSS purchases the bus passes from us, and they're in charge of distributing them out.
Yes, they do. And they generally, one of the things that I was just reminded of, and is the dollar, it's not a specific dollar amount because it's an estimated amount depending on how many passes, and it varies. Last year, they actually purchased less than they have in the previous years due to COVID and the ridership decreases. But the sales, they purchase them, and they're purchased at a reduced rate of I think it's about $22.18 per trip, per Medicaid trip. But that's what they pay, transfer to the city of Winston-Salem, and then they will issue those passes to the recipients that are eligible and need transportation assistance.
Okay. And of course, this is from the first resolution that we passed. Those are full-blown comped through Medicaid, and then these are for whatever DSS deems they meet the criteria for assistance.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Lawson, please forgive me.
That's all right.
We do have a motion. If there's no further questions, a motion to pass the resolution on Forsyth County DSS, the provision of bus pass sales. Do we have a second?
Keith King, I second.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. King. All those in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Tika?
Chairman Robert Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Keith King,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark,
Aye.
Dr. Jack Fleer,
Aye.
Miss Latanya Wright,
Aye.
and Miss Jeanette Lawson Jackson.
Aye.
All members have voted.
Thank you very much, Tika. We'll move on to the next resolution. And this resolution is a resolution authorizing contract with Vector Group Incorporated for the 2022 National Black Theater Transportation Service. This is coming up, and we're very happy to be a part of this. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Woodson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. The resolution you have before you this morning at this time is for transportation service for the National Black Theater Festival that is biannual. As we all know, due to COVID, we were not able to actually have it the last year. So as Mr. Garcia said, we're happy and excited to see the festival coming back to Winston-Salem this year, and we look forward to it. The festival will be held August the 1st through the 6th. And we actually advertised for bid the transportation services. And when the purchasing department bid it out, we only received 2 bids, proposals, which was Sunway Charters and Vector Group. And Vector Group was the award through the process of the evaluation committee, which met, and based on their criteria proposed, they actually were the reward and that we're bringing for you today to recommend to provide transportation services for the Black Theater Festival this year. And I will add that Vector Group is DBE, so that's exciting as well. And we are asking that this contract be allowed to be signed and agreed to for a term of 1 year beginning July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. I'll entertain any questions if there be any.
And Ms. Woodson, again, the reason we are outsourcing is because, of course, what we're going through from our standpoint, this is the first time, to my recollection, that we've outsourced.
We actually outsourced the last in 2019 as well because of the shortages, the staff shortages. So we were not able to provide enough. We did utilize some of WSTA's resources. However, Sunway Charters was the award in 2019, and they provided buses as well. So this time it will be totally bid out to the Vector Group. They were able to supply is the amount of buses and drivers that we need to support the whole week of the festival.
Now, do they work directly with the festival themselves? Do they go through us?
They do not work directly with the festival. This is still managed by WSTA. Our operations manager, Verlin Crawford, and Lisa Sides, the assistant operations manager for Fixed Route, they manage this, and they have done so for, I believe, since the beginning of the festival in Winston-Salem, and will do the same this year. And what they actually have to do is they get a list of all of the locations, the hotels, and the venues that will host the shows, and they create a schedule. They've already done that for this year and submitted that to myself, and I've already submitted it to the National Black Theater team. So that has already taken place, and Mr. Crawford and Ms. Sides will manage that for the week as well, and other supervisors. So we'll supervise it, but they'll actually be driving.
Okay, fantastic.
Providing the service. And this is estimated to and should not exceed $200,000.
Fellow board members, are there any questions, comments? This is a great thing that we've done that we started some years back. And for those of you board members that have never attended or been a part of that, I would encourage you. This is just a sidebar note. It is a great festival, a lot of entertaining types of films, you name it, poetry, you name it. And we're proud to be a part of it as part of the city. I know Mayor Joins is very much behind this whole project, and so are we here at WSTA. So at this
I move
time,
its approval.
Thank you, Dr. Flair. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
King, I'll approve, second.
Thank you very much, Mr. King. All those in favor of the resolution authorizing a contract with Vector, the Vector Group Incorporated for the 2022 National Black Theater Transportation Service, please signify by saying aye. Tika?
Chairman Robert Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Keith King,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark,
Aye.
Dr. Jack Fleer,
Aye.
Ms. Latanya Wright,
Aye.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson.
Aye.
All members have voted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next resolution is a resolution authorizing a contract with North State Security Group for our security services.
Yes, sir. I believe this is our final resolution for this morning. This is actually a new contract year or contract term for our security services that is mostly for the transportation center located downtown Winston-Salem. And this contract was bid by the city of Winston-Salem's purchasing department and solicited, and all the bid proposals were due in the office by noon on May 5th, 2022. From all of the solicitation, as well as with DBE and the current provider and all of the city and state contacts, everyone was provided with an opportunity to bid for security services, and we only received 2 bids. That was North State Security Group and Value Security Group out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The successful and recommended vendor for security services based on the scoring criteria was North State Security Group. This contract that we bring for you today is we ask for your approval for the city manager to contract with North State Security Group for 1 year with an option to extend the contract for 3 consecutive terms beyond the June 2023 date.
Okay.
I'll entertain any questions the board may have in regards to the North State Security Group.
Mr. King, the only issue that I have with them is that they like to group up together for some reason. They be in a certain part of the parking lot, and then nobody be in the transportation center or in the hub itself.
Right, and I totally agree with you, Mr. King. And what I've spoken with Chief Comer and Michael of that manages the North State Security Group. And as I told them, of course, we allowed this purchasing department make them aware if their award, but it was based upon the board approval. And I made them aware that we will have a meeting if the board approves this resolution today, and prior to July 1, or within that first week, we will meet and have some performance discussions again, and just make sure they are clear and understand what our expectations are from the beginning of this contract term. So they are very well aware, and we're looking at reorganizing the structure of the schedules so that we can have coverage where needed, and give them, directives and clear directives of how they have to patrol in different areas where they'll have some technology in place so we can monitor their patrols. I'm sorry. So there's some things that staff has created, some procedures and some performance expectations that we will make sure that we hold North State accountable for.
That was a very good point, Mr. King. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that, Donna.
Thank you.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Mr. King. I know I've seen it too. And perhaps, Ms. Woodson, when you have this meeting, maybe a possible suggestion might be one to meet on a quarterly basis, just a quick meeting with them, just to say, how's it going? This is what we're seeing. We see that Bill, this particular security guard, is not doing his job, or
Right.
whatever the case might be, or he's doing a great job. And just a suggestion from that standpoint, just to kind of keep them on their toes instead of waiting until 365 days later.
Right. And we have a monthly transit meeting where we actually meet with any people that have been banned. So it's basically appeals committee meeting. So generally at the end of that, we have any discussions or concerns about security or any other transit issues. However, to make it more specific to security, I will definitely take your suggestion to having a quarterly meeting or bi-monthly meeting until we get to a place where we feel comfortable that the level of professionalism and they're doing what they're required to do. So we will definitely take that in consideration, and I'll present that schedule to you the next board meeting. Yes, sir.
Well, and I know that we have a list of people that have been banned, some permanently, some temporarily. Is there a photo of these individuals?
Yes, sir. The photos of all of the people that are banned, and especially permanent bans, is posted in the driver's area at the transportation center in an enclosed area, so only the drivers can see that. And they also have those photos on display for security, so that they would always know. And we're actually going to be looking into that and the process for that. So we'll have some more discussion forthcoming about the ban policies and how we manage that process as well.
Okay. Fellow board members, comments, questions? Okay.
Mr. King, I'll approve the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Thank you, Mr. King. Do we have a second?
That Lawson Jackson, second.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. All those in favor of the resolution authorizing the contract with North State Security for security services at the Transportation Center for the upcoming year, please signify by saying aye. Ms. Tico?
Chairman Robert Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Keith King,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark,
Aye.
Dr. Jack Fleer,
Aye.
Ms. Latanya Wright,
Aye.
Ms. Lawson Jackson.
Aye.
All members present have voted.
Thank you very much. Well, fellow board members, that concludes the action items that we had. As I stated at the beginning of today's meeting, for the sake of and out of respect to people's time this morning, if there are no questions, or if there are questions about the reports that were sent to you, please let us know at this time. And also, too, if you happen to be reading them and it's after the meeting, by all means, we can get a hold of Miss Woodson. She's on vacation. She might not respond right away, but certainly I know Carol will be more than happy to answer the question that you might have. Are there any questions?
Chairman Garcia, this is Jack Fleer.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether others have looked at the Winston-Salem Journal this morning, but the city budget was approved, and during the discussion on the budget, Councilman Robert Clark made a statement in which I'm reading from the newspaper. He's talking about WSTA, and he says we are spending 40% more money to transport 60% fewer people. That's why I've been a critic of the bus system. I think there's something fundamentally flawed with it. End of quote. At some point, I think we need to explore this concern on the part of Councilman Clark. I should say that whenever I was looking over Carol's excellent reports for this month and for previous months, I have raised questions and sort of implied concerns about the challenges we are facing in increasing ridership, particularly when it's compared with other city or county systems or regional systems that Carol has in her report. So I just want to raise the issue. I don't want it to pass because I do think it deserves some attention. Maybe Donna or someone from the WSTA staff has already responded to this. And if they have, I would be interested in knowing what the response is at the appropriate time. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Flair. As a matter of fact, Ms. Woodson and I have been in discussion, and what you read is correct. We will address this when Ms. Woodson gets back from vacation. I think we have to go through the right parties. Just to let you all know that just last week, there was a great presentation that Ms. Woodson, and thank you, Carol, for presenting all the facts and figures and the data for Ms. Woodson, that we presented before the Public Works Committee. I was present. Ms. Woodson did an excellent job. And of course, that is a subcommittee formed from city council members. After reviewing all the data that we had given them, showed them all the facts and figures, I was very proud of the fact that we were not asked very many questions. There was not much critiquing. There was certainly there was a lot of positive comments made, which Dr. Flair and everyone, that kind of struck me as odd that maybe it wasn't discussed with the council member that brought up these concerns. Maybe it did, maybe he did. There's where we have to do a little research, because we would like to think that's why they have the subcommittees to discuss this and then present it to everybody. So we definitely are going to look into this, because certainly when it comes up and then it all of a sudden gets, the Public Works meeting didn't get publicized, but then this sheds somewhat of a dark light on us, and of course that's when the questions start popping up. So but we welcome questions. We welcome people to challenge us, and we do as board members. We challenge Ms. Woodson and the crew, and they are fantastic when it comes to providing the information. So just to let everybody know that it is something that is at the top of the list after this past week's meeting. And Dr. Flair will, with the fact that you brought that up, and thank you very much for that, Ms. Woodson, I think it would be great if after, when you get back and we discuss this, that we send out a report back to our board members.
Yes, sir. I will definitely do that. And I will definitely add just to, and thank you, Mr. Garcia, for the information that you provided, and you as well, Dr. Flair, because that was something that, like Mr. Garcia said, we talked about, and it was not a pleasant read. We're definitely currently looking at our efficiencies and looking at our service overall. That was the sole purpose, one of the sole purposes for hiring the firm HDR. So they're currently looking at all of our services and the data, the ridership, and funding as well, and looking at our existing service to see where we can create more efficient routes and coverage, and make some different changes in how we provide the service, whether that be any micro transit, in different eliminating services, repurposing services where there's low performance, and placing them in locations or at times where we need to increase our frequencies. So HDR is heavily looking at that and on an aggressive approach, and staff as well. So we are definitely going to do everything that we continue to do what we can to make sure that we're providing a service that is efficient and beneficial to the citizens of Winston-Salem. But we will be more than happy to provide some more data and some of the things that we're doing behind the scenes to make sure that we're running a service that's efficient.
Thank you, Ms. Woodson.
May I ask when that HDR report is expected?
Yes, they have actually out in the July meeting. I will make sure that I bring some more data to the board to show the next steps and what they've already started. They started in May, where they did ride-alongs and window shield observations, where they were with window shield surveys, where they were actually looking. They had teams that included WSTA, Department of Transportation, and HDR staff, and they went out and rode routes, the heavy performing routes as well as the low performing routes, and did some windshield surveys, looking at where we have current bus stops, bus shelters, where we need service, where where there's a lot of ridership. So they had various different elements that they were looking for in the observations. So that was one part of that. They're creating service. They're in the process now of creating service standards. So I will have a more detailed report of what they have done, what they're doing, and what they will have forthcoming. But this whole study is expected to end and they'll have a full detailed recommendation for council, the board and the council in 2023. And I'll present that data to the board in the July meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Woodson. And Dr. Flair, as always, thank you. Is there any further comment or questions in regards to this subject? Okay. Well, if there are no questions in regards to the staff reports, and Carol, is there anything that stands out that you just real quick? Is there a bullet point or anything that you feel that maybe you should point out to us?
I guess the only thing I would say, based on my report, is you can, when you read the report, you can see that a lot of the free fare cities are ending supposedly this month, unless they approve it in their budget to continue it. So it's going to be real interesting to watch what happens when they stop the free fares, because I think their ridership is going to take a hit. I say, if we want to increase our ridership, we could do free fares. We know it'll go up.
Okay, thank you. And certainly we're keeping a tight eye, and I got to think from a fuel perspective, Ms. Woodson, and
fuel is definitely increased. The price of fuel has gone up, diesel, gas, everything is increasing. And we're experiencing that, in our homes as well as businesses, and transit takes a hit in that area as well when it comes to fuel and procurement. Everything is going up. The demand, supply and demand, it has taken a hit and which that also has an increase in expenditures. So there's a lot of different factors to support the increase over a period of time. And then we have to look at the timing as well. So that's something that we'll report on as well at a later time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Carol. And Ms. Woodson, just real quick, last thing, with regards to coming back in person meetings.
I don't know that I would have to check to see if the city council made a vote on the in-person meetings. I know that Ms. McCollum had stated in the last meeting that they were supposed to have that meeting or vote on that in the June. I'm not sure if she is actually on. I know she's on, so if she had a finalization or if they actually voted on it, I will find out and let the board know that as well, how the procedure would need to go for us to either come back to in-person meetings or remain in virtual meetings.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Yes, City Council did adopt a new policy on virtual meetings. And what will need to happen, I'll get with Donna on the process, but the board will need to meet face-to-face to then have a final resolution or decision made on continuing with virtual meetings, if that is the desire of the board. But council did adopt a new resolution at their meeting on Tuesday. So I'll be sure to share that with Donna so that she can provide it to you and give you guidance on what those provisions are and how you need to go about making the decision going forward.
Thanks, Tanique. Tanique, would that maybe include also the possibility, should a board member for personal reasons choose to be present virtually, that they could do that too, or is it going to be either one or the other?
There is a provision in there for certain conditions where a board member would need to meet in order to meet virtually if the board decides to do full face-to-face.
Okay.
So I'll be sure to provide that to Donna and what those conditions are. The challenge is when you're trying to do face-to-face and virtual, making sure that you have a facility that will allow for both options.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And Tanique, thank you very much for supporting Ms. Woodson at the Public Works meeting. I know you were there supporting her and being her cheerleader that day. And I think it was just great. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Woodson, with your permission and the board's permission, we have come to the conclusion. If there are no further questions or comments. No questions, comments?
No,
Well,
for
fellow
me,
board
again, I
members-
thank you all board members for making adjustment for this June meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Woodson, all members of the WSTA staff and all members of the city staff. Thank you for everything that you do on a day-to-day basis, keeping our public transportation going. Fellow board members, thank you for taking the time out of your morning to meet with us. We hope that you have a very pleasant rest of your day. And also too, with the upcoming holiday coming up, 4th of July, might be a good one for you. So at this time, we will adjourn. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.